Welcome to the Razors Inc. podcast with your host, Jonathan Farini. Well, once again, Jonathan is taking a break, and against his better judgment, he left me in charge of this week's podcast. So I thought it'd be fun to go back to where it all began and revisit some of the early episodes of the Razors Inc. podcast made before he got a producer, me. So pour yourself a drink, pull up a chair, and hear Jonathan's take on movies, television, and today, the black private dick that's a sex machine to all the chicks. Here's your host, Jonathan Farini.
Hey, welcome to the Razors Inc. podcast. Try to keep this one to 15 minutes. It's a fun podcast. It's about two films, Shaft, 1971, and then the 2000 version. I'm setting this up as if I'm going to talk about sequels, and by the time I'm done, you will see that I'm not. Listen, this is not a podcast where I'm going to tell you about the film. I'm going to presume you've seen both films because I'm just going to touch upon subjects that will show you, in my belief, that they are not sequels. They are standalone, wonderful motion pictures. I've seen Shaft. I saw it when it originally came out in 71. It was the precursor of a wave of films called blaxploitation films. So I'm going to set the stage. I'm going to talk about the original Shaft, 1971. This was made, if the number is correct, on a $500,000 budget. And I will argue with you that was not a lot of money even in 1971. Now, before we get started, go on YouTube and find the Isaac Hayes Shaft opening credits to the movie. Watch that before you listen to this. It will put you in the mood and you will understand what I'm talking about. I'm presuming you have done that. This is about Richard Roundtree, casting. He just brings it. He's the right man at the right time. When you watch the opening credits, first of all, you're hit with these big red credits. And there's this musical score by Isaac Hayes. He won the Best Original Song, the first African-American to win an Oscar for Best Original Song in 1971. Think about that. In fact, there's a couple other songs in that film in 71 that you should listen to. They're wonderful, wonderful lyrics. So in this opening scene, Gordon Parks, African-American director, let's assume it's a tight budget, it's a small budget. He starts off with a crane shot showing who Richard Roundtree or Shaft is, what his attitude is. Because he ain't using any crosswalks. He's crossing the street when he wants, how he wants, almost gets hit by a cab, has a confrontation with a cab driver. Meanwhile, Isaac Hayes is telling us in lyrics about who Shaft is.
Who's the black private dick that's a sex machine to all the chicks?
Shaft!
Damn right. Who is the man that would risk his neck for his brother, man?
Shaft!
Can you dig it? Who's the cat that won't cop out when there's danger all about?
Shaft!
Right on. You say this cat is a bad mother.
Shut your
I'm
mouth,
talking about Shaft.
then we can dig it.
He's a complicated
Big red credits, this crane shot up over the streets of New York, these cinema marquees with these films which tell us a lot about the era. What Gordon Parks is doing, he's telling us a story in the opening credits, and I always, always, always admire that. It's similar to Touch of Evil, if you saw that, Orson Welles. We're in tight on Charlton Heston and his wife. Charlton Heston plays a Mexican, by the way. They put makeup on him, and he plays a district attorney in Tijuana. But it's this close-up and then this pullback by a crane, which reveals Tijuana of the 1950s. So by the time the opening credits are done, we have learned so much about this newlywed couple. This is not about Touch of Evil, but I'm saying Gordon Parks uses the opening credits, uses Isaac Hayes' composition to show us the attitude of Shaft. He's not going to take any prisoners. He's not going to take any BS. He's direct. So number one, I talked about casting. Number two, I talked about Gordon Parks. There's another scene, you can find it on YouTube, where Gordon Parks is directing inside this tight stairwell. No, it is not a set. They're actually out in the world filming. Oh, gee whiz, no CGI? No, it's the real deal. They're in this tight stairwell and it's a shootout. And you can see it in YouTube. Gordon Parks is in there. They're all cramped in there. The actors are up on this staircase. And one of them actually has to do a fall over the staircase. It's very cool to watch the directing and the cinematographer. It's just super, super cool. Second of all, I talk a lot about inanimate objects that become protagonists. Shaft's leather jacket, that knee-length brown leather jacket, is a protagonist. It says a lot about the character. It should be in the Smithsonian. In fact, if you want to have a lot of irony, you ought to hang it on a clothing rack next to Archie Bunker's chair in the Smithsonian. That's where it belongs. That coat really tells us a lot about Richard Roundtree.
Did you have the room bugged?
Oh, no, not me. Me? I could turn the other way. Not hear what I heard. It's that big-eared captain I got who was listening. Thinks he heard you discussing a kidnapping. Thinks the mafia's involved. And he knows Bumpy Jonas is involved.
Tell him to ask Bumpy then.
Yeah, I did. But he wants to ask you. Now. At the station. It's lousy timing, right?
You gonna take me in?
I will if I find you. Are you home?
Hell no.
That's too bad.
He's just not going to take it from the man. And then there's Moses Gunn. Moses Gunn plays this Harlem gangster who kind of controls Harlem, but his daughter is kidnapped. And Moses Gunn, he's a tough guy, okay? He is a gangster. However, he reveals this melancholy and this love for his daughter and this breakdown in front of Shaft where he says, you
find my baby. That's all I want. I got money. You spend it. And you find her.
And it's just a few seconds on camera, but it's just so wonderful to see that dichotomy in this character. Just so wonderful. Charles Ciaffi plays this white New York detective who's kind of a foil to Shaft, but they like each other, but they bump up against each other.
Give a damn what he likes. Now, what the hell are you pumping me for, huh?
2 weeks ago, we started picking up rumbles.
You already said that.
We know it's not the Panthers or the young lords, but something's on the boil, John. I just want to know what it is before we need an ad machine to start counting up the bodies. Bumpy wants you for something. He knows what's going on. And that's what I want to know. Not who, just what.
So please understand, this was the first out of the chute. Okay, black director, black composer, a very strong central character, Richard Roundtree. It's a seminal American motion picture. It was trailblazing.
That motherfucker must have lost his mind.
Now that's what I'm talking about. Now that's music. You, if you think I got what you need, shall we ride? Woo-hoo, I think you might have been conceived to this song.
Thanks for that.
Okay, let's talk about Shaft number 2. Hey, I like this film. And I'm going to tell you right now, in my opinion, it is not a sequel. It is not a sequel, folks. I'm going to tell you why. This was directed by John Singleton, and it's Samuel Jackson. What more do you need to say? Samuel Jackson is his own man as an actor, and he brings it to this movie. But he brings it differently than Richard Roundtree did. Actually, he's playing, I believe, the nephew of Richard Roundtree's Shaft in an homage, but he's his own character. He's his own Shaft. But here's the key. This is a 2000 film. Talk about casting Christian Bale.
And he was hassling Trey from the minute we all walked in the doors.
Right this way, at this table. Yo! Excuse me, sir. Yo!
What's up, man? They don't serve no malt liquor here. No malt liquor, all right? No. Aye? Aye?
What the hell's your problem, buddy?
Let's go. I want to go.
No, we're fine. We're fine. Okay? Don't even worry about it. What did your friend Trey do?
Nothing. He tried to ignore the guy. But the bastard just wouldn't let up.
No 40s, no chronic, no Indo. Aye? Hey, dog, is you deaf? Holla back!
Christian Bale, he's still early in his career. He had just finished American Psycho. But listen, this is the year 2000. And this movie, the entire movie is about the criminal justice system not working for Black America. In the year 2000, how prescient was this motion picture? Well, Jonathan, that whole breakdown of the criminal justice system for Black America has been going on forever and ever. So what's the big deal? Hey, the big deal is they made a motion picture about it, okay? In the year 2000, and the budget, according to what I see, was $46 million. So they stepped up. And this was prescient by at least 20 years. That's my point, okay? So Christian Bale brings it. Shaft number 2, the year 2000, is at least 20 years ahead of the time in talking about this breakdown of the criminal justice system not working for Black America. Basically, Christian Bale kills this young black man and gets off because he's a rich kid. And Shaft goes after him to get justice. It's about casting. It's about Samuel Jackson being his own actor, having his own interpretation of Shaft, not letting Richard Roundtree's character overshadow his. It's about Christian Bale. I'm going to talk about another actor. Oh, my God, this guy pulled it off. Oh, my God. Jeffrey Wright. You know who I'm talking about? He plays Peoples.
Yeah, I got to tell you something. In this neighborhood, I am in King's name. I do like this. On 181, 3 people die on Riverside. But the thing of it is, I go downtown, right, to take a girl out, show her the size. I walk into a restaurant, my stomach's in a knot, my teeth is clenched, my hands is in fist. I don't fit in down there. People look at me, size me up. So like 10 minutes into it, I can't wait to come back home. I'm like a prisoner,
Peoples is a gang leader. I think he's of Dominican background. And what Jeffrey Wright does with this character, he is menacing. He is loving. There's a scene with him and his baby.
The truth of it is, finding people, that's not really my, as they say, forte. So this is what I propose. You all detectives, right? You detect. So why don't I subcontract to you? The guy says the hero cash out about 20 G's, gonna bring it by tonight. With you, I split it down the middle, 50-50. Easiest money you'll ever make. You take half, I take half.
And large?
10,000. All you gotta do is tell me where she's at.
Then what happens?
Easiest money you'll ever make.
And he brings comic relief to this film. And he does it in his mannerisms. He does it in his language, his references. Just watch it. I got to tell you, to be honest with you, it's worth watching just for Jeffrey Wright. Really. Dude just brings it. I don't know if he was nominated for a supporting actor, but if he wasn't, he should have been. So those are the two films. To sum it up for you, Shaft 1971 and Shaft 2000 are not sequels. They're very different films. Yes, they are named Shaft. Yes, they have a character who looks to bring justice. In Shaft number 1 with Richard Roundtree, it was basically the mafia with control over the drug trade, prostitution, and whatnot in Harlem. And then they had guys like Moses Gunn who did the dirty work. So it was kind of a trickle down, no pun intended, bad reference maybe, to the black gangsters. So the heavies in Shaft number 1 was the mafia. So you had Richard Roundtree, the hero, bringing justice to Harlem against the mafia that had a stranglehold on it. And in Shaft number 2, you had the hero, Samuel Jackson Shaft, bringing justice to a mother who had her son murdered by this character, this rich kid played by Christian Bale, and the criminal justice system failed the mother. And there's this really cool scene. I talked about the jacket in the 71 version of Shaft. There is a badge. There is a badge. It is a detective badge. And it's a very seminal scene. And after the verdict is handed down, Christian Bale's character smirks at Shaft and smirks at the mother who lost her son. Shaft takes out his detective badge and throws it at the judge. The judge leans over and it sticks in the bench of the judge. And I think that if you could get a hold of that detective's badge, put that alongside Shaft's leather coat and alongside Archie Bunker's chair in the Smithsonian, I think I covered the main themes. In conclusion, they are not sequels. They are standalone movies. They are both wonderful. They are wonderfully casted. But back to 71, you really have to pay homage to Gordon Parks, to Richard Roundtree, and Isaac Hayes. Man, you know, Isaac Hayes was a hell of an actor. If you fast forward to the mid-1970s, there was a television series with James Garner called The Rockford Files.
Remember me, Rockfish?
Yeah, the night bears are getting down to only 1 or 2 a month, and the name is not Rockfish.
I came to collect.
I figured that.
It happens to be a bona fide debt and you're 5 years past due. Now, what happened to that bread you supposed to deposit in my account in Inmates Trust Fund?
I kept meaning to send it.
$1,500 is what you owe, and $1,500 I'm gonna collect.
And Isaac Hayes was in that. And every time Isaac Hayes showed up in that series, you made sure you watched it, because Isaac just brought it as an actor. He really did. Multi-talented guy. So listen, go off and watch these 2 films. Watch the opening credits with the soundtrack to the original Shaft in 71. That'll put you in the mood. Wherever you go, leave behind a soft footprint. And until I see you next time, class is dismissed.
And to give you an idea of just how important Shaft was beyond the African American community, in 1971, Shaft was one of just 3 movies put out by MGM to turn a profit that year, saving MGM from the brink of bankruptcy. And one other interesting piece of Shaft trivia, the women in the award-winning theme song who tell Isaac Hayes to shut his mouth, those voices were Thelma Hopkins and Joyce Vincent Wilson of Dawn, as in Tony Orlando and Dawn. And now you know. You've been listening to the Razors Inc. podcast with Jonathan Ferrini. Be sure to check out Jonathan's collection of fiction at the Jonathan B. Ferrini Story Collection at jonathanferrini.com. Also, given that this week's topic was Shaft, be sure to look for Jonathan's latest short story, Mind Shaft, in which a troubled young woman meets a lonely retired gold miner in Death Valley. Entering a shuttered gold mine, they become trapped, but discover artifacts revealing important lessons for both. Mind Shaft, published in the August edition of Egophobia magazine. Go to jonathanferrini.com or drop an email to razorsincpodcast@gmail.com.
Who's the cat that won't come out when there's danger all about? Right on. They say this cat Shaft is a bad mother. I'm talking about Shaft. He's a complicated man, but no one understands him but his woman.